Family and friends, welcome to Duckton Park Funeral Centre for today's funeral service for Philip Govan, fondly known as Phil. We also welcome those who are joining us via today's webcast. My name is Ruth from Peter Tobin Funerals. My colleagues Lani and Liz and I will be pleased to assist you in any way we can this afternoon. At the conclusion of the service, you are warmly invited to gather at the Invermay Bowling Club, 161 Swinglers Road, Invermay, for light refreshments and the opportunity to share your memories of Phil. If you've not already done so, I invite you to record your name in the memorial pages after the service. For those watching via the webcast, you are invited to light a virtual candle in memory of Phil via the web page you are now viewing. If you have a mobile phone with you today, please make sure it is switched off or turn to silent for the duration of the service. Phil's service is led by Joe Cruz. We'll commence by listening to Have I Told You Lately That I Love You by Rod Stewart.
Have I told you lately that I love you? Have I told you there's no one else above you? Fill my heart with gladness, take away all my sadness, ease my troubles, that's what you do. For the morning sun and all its glory greets the day with hope and comfort too. You fill my life with laughter, and somehow you make it better. Ease my troubles, that's what you do. There's a love that's divine, and it's yours and it's mine like the sun. And at the end of the day, we should give thanks and praise to the one, to the one. Have I told you lately that I love you? Have I told you there's no one else above you? Fill my heart with gladness, take away all my sadness, ease my troubles, that's what you do. Have I told you lately that I love you? Have I told you there's no one else above you? You fill my heart with gladness, take away my sadness, ease my troubles, that's what you do. Take away all my sadness, fill my life with gladness, ease my troubles, that's what you do. Take away all my sadness, fill my life with gladness, ease my troubles, that's what you do.
everyone, and a very warm welcome to you all. Today we gather as family, as friends, neighbours, workmates, and all those whose lives were touched by Philip John Govan, your Phil. We come together not simply to mourn a loss, but to celebrate a life that was lived with purpose, with strength, with generosity, humour and love, and lots of pranks. Today is about honouring Phil and his wishes. Phil chose all of the songs that are playing today, all of the photos that is in his photo presentation, because he only chose the good ones, and he definitely wanted his life celebrated with no bullshit. Phil was a comedian right until the end, and today we remember the man who filled rooms with his presence, who left his mark on the hearts of those fortunate enough to know him, and whose legacy continues through the family and friends that he loved so dearly. Every life tells a story, and Phil's story is one worth telling. Phil's story is all about family, his friendship, his loyalty, his hard work, his lots and lots of laughter, that determination, and countless moments that may have seemed ordinary at the time, but have now become treasured memories. As we gather here today, you each carry your own version of Phil. Phil as a beautiful husband, father, grandfather, brother, a friend. He was also a mentor, a mate, a confidant, or simply someone whose company made life a little brighter. No two relationships with Phil were exactly the same, yet they were all united by one thing. Phil mattered. His presence made a difference. And while today brings sadness because you say goodbye, it is also gives you the opportunity to say thank you. Thank you for all the laughter. Thank you for the many lessons. Thank you for the memories, and thank you for the love that you gave to Tracy and your kids. But most importantly, thank you, Phil, for being exactly who you were. Today we celebrate your journey. We honour your life, and we acknowledge the incredible impact that you have left behind. Today is a hard day. Today is a sad day. But today is also a day of sharing. And it is now that I invite the beautiful Tracy to come forward and share with us.
Thanks, Jo. And my glasses, I can't see a thing. So on the way in here, I said to my brother and to Andy in the car, well, I can hear him now. Fucking Ballarat weather. Could hear him all the way. A little bit of sunshine peeking out there, but you know, fucking Ballarat weather. Phil asked me firstly, and Phil has written a lot of this, asked me firstly to thank some amazing people for his care and friendship to both of us. Dr. Henry Plange, we cannot express our heartfelt gratitude to you in our lives, not just as a doctor, but a friend that you have become over many years. Dr. Andrew Lowe, Dr. Russell Pearce, you both showed us so much kindness during this journey. Thanks to the three of you. As our team, I am sure that is also why Phil had a little bit more time than we thought. To our wonderful team of nurses from hospice and home care, what an amazing group of humans. The kindness, friendship, the heartfelt care was above and beyond both what Phil and myself could have expected. And over the past 8 months, they spent a lot of time in our home, and we are both eternally grateful to them all. Phil's chest, of course, today will be puffed up, as we all know, and that amazing strut extended with the amazing turnout to celebrate his life. Thank you to those who have travelled so far just to be here for Phil and myself. But firstly, I'd like to ask Jules and Laban to come forward with some memories that our children and grandchildren have talked about.
Afternoon all. So I've got here a tiny part of the memories that were created for our dad Poppy. Dad and Poppy. Voted number one by all. Dad and our Poppy as playing Santa, the best Santa there could be. The funniest antics ever and best memories for all generations. Now, at the farm, we lived on the farm, he used to make us run up to the windmill, Jules and I, as punishment for being naughty. I remember ducking in the grass halfway. It was so far to go, it was about 100 metres, but we were little. And Dad said Dad saying when we ran back to the house, he'd say, "I saw that, do it again." We remember Dad's massive hands, and they were strong, but they were gentle. I remember learning the saxophone, and Dad would say, "Can't you do that with just moving your fingers?" Matthew remembers one son, no names mentioned, when welding he would say, "Fantastic, you're a natural." And then Julian would remember saying that there was one other would get the routine inspection and say, "Yeah, I reckon I could fix that." Now, every time Dad would buy a new car, his classic comment was, "That will be the last one I will ever need." We almost lost count on how many last ones there were. Dad and Matt always remember competing over who was the best looking, and always joked whenever anywhere together, saying, "Well, we are the two best looking in the room." Dad used to say, "Hey Matt, grab your stick, we're going out, but grab the short ones so at least the girls can get close." Julian said he remembered starting a triathlons. Dad asked me to get him a bike, a maximum of about 2,000. Yeah, he was excited to tell him that he got one for 2,000. Yep, that was just the frame. He didn't get the seat, the handlebars, or even the group set of wheels. Poppy's laugh was the best, we remember. Nanny only allowing him to have one of what they called the prison biscuits. Parish remembers that Poppy was babysitting. His payment was a bag of retro mixed lollies. You always made sure you sat really close to him to make sure that to get him to give you the most of those lollies. Kieran remembers Poppy could show me how to make a fireball with a spray can over the fire. That's about right, isn't it? Yeah. Nanny was not impressed. We remember Poppy T's top sports car. We all remember his jokes. Even when they weren't funny, his delivery was what made us giggle. He always laughed before he even finished a joke. He always had time to listen, consider what to say, and then give great advice. When there were Tim Tams, Poppy was the only one allowed to have them, and he played the victim if he ever got caught sneaking a second one. He would take the whole day to find his way out of Melbourne, including plenty of road rage and finding the music turned down real low so Poppy could see where he was going. We remember having running races with Poppy, forgetting he was Superman, he could never beat him. And that was the same for arm wrestles, if you remember that. Making wooden swords in the shed, we could play with the swords so we could play sword fighting. It's probably not as safe as we thought. And letting us ride on the tractor at Old Pars, playing games with us, especially the claw, where he would chase us and grab us on our heads with his giant hands. Thanks, Poppy. We'll all love you. We miss you so very much.
So just on a couple of those points, at the wake this afternoon, Paris and Kieran will have a little table and are happy to show you how Poppy shared lollies. So, so you probably will still need dinner afterwards, I'm guessing. But yeah. Back when Dad was first diagnosed with his terminal cancer and Andrew Lowe had done his very best to save him, I was absolutely gutted. So I reached out to a friend, Mark Johnson, who'd lost his dad a little bit earlier. And Jono, knowing exactly how I was feeling at the time, told me that people die twice. Once when they stop breathing, but they only really die and die for a second time when their name is spoken aloud for the very last time. I liked this so much that I actually went back and thought, where did this come from? And it actually dates back to ancient Egypt times. So today, I hope you'll all join me as I practice, keeping Dad alive. Philip John Govan. Philip John Govan. Philip John Govan. Now, I recognise that Dad, or Philip John Govan, was many things to many people. And each of us will have their own stories and memories. Over the years, I used to love sitting around with Dad and his brothers and brothers-in-laws at family functions and listening to the stories that they told. I tried so hard to extract those stories from Dad, to the point where I even bought him one of those books that you fill in, so that your stories can be told for held for future generations. Dad, true to form, filled in exactly 0 of those pages, not one. So I'd really ask, please share your stories with me and the family. We love hearing them. We'd love to know how you'll remember Dad, whether it's today, at the wake, tomorrow, next week, next month or next year. And while I'm talking about remembering him, Kylie and I went out on Boxing Day this year and sat down with Dad. We'd had a fantastic Christmas lunch with most of the family the day before, but Dad was just a little bit flat. And so he sort of said, "What's going on, mate?" And he's gone, "I've cleaned this up. We know how Dad used to like to swear, but I have cleaned it up." He's gone, "Now that I'm dying, everyone wants to take a photo of me. I don't want having those reminders out there of, me looking like this. They should have remembered, or they should be remembering, the 73 years when I was strong, fit and healthy." So if you do have photos of Dad when he was sick, if you could put them aside for at least today, instead look at the photos from before. Remember the man who was strong, capable, hardworking, stubborn, loving, and, as we've heard, so funny that he could never finish a joke without laughing, because he knew what the punchline was going to be. That's how he wanted to be remembered. Hopefully we can honour his wishes. Thanks.
Well done, boys. So, on that 73 years as such, Phil, for the last 30 plus years that we've been together, has told me that he would only be here till his 75th. Now, his number was 75. So when he was diagnosed, we went, "You're not 75, so you've been bullshitting." But we then remembered it was actually his 75th year of life. So he knew all along that 75 was his number, his time. So with that, he was very determined to be strong, to make sure he looked after everybody and see us all through, so that we would, constantly remember and talk about Philip John. So Phil was actually a twin, which many, many people wouldn't know about. But sadly, the other baby was lost during Nan's pregnancy. But the story he told was he kicked it out because he wanted to be number one and he was the best looking. So imagine having 2 of him. But, we do have Matt. So Matt is just the image of his father. On August 4th, 1951, it was a cold and snowy day, hence the cold weather today, and the number 1 golden-haired son was born to Philip and Faye Govan. A little brother to 2 big sisters, someone to play with and drop on his head, as Gail used to say. They lived at 10 Howard Street, Ballarat North, And a couple of years after Jamie was born, they moved to the newly built 905 Sherrod Street, which our family and extended family know all so well. There was more siblings that came along during this time, where many generations also of family, events, adventures and memories were made for all of us. Phil went to the Ballarat North Primary School and then on to North Tech for secondary school. And of course, not surprisingly, he turned out to be the tough kid. When nearly old enough, he went on later to be highly graded in karate, but nobody ever wanted to get in a fight with him with his fists of steel. And of course, Digger and him used to have many times of arm wrestling to see if anyone could beat them, which they never could. Across from the house, in those days, it was bush, with on the other side paddocks, dirt roads, but what a play haven for the neighbourhood kids. Cowboys being one of Phil's favourites. And with Jamie and the Cox boys in the neighbourhood, they got into all sorts of mischief. Drinking out of the gutters as cowboys. I said, really? He said, well, that's what you did. Phil was in trouble once for starting a campfire, but the problem is he set the back paddock on fire. During days of digging a tunnel in the side of the dam, to find it collapse and the dam water rushing down the hill, in the back door, out the front door of the neighbour's house. Those bloody Govan kids, always causing chaos. Phil said he used to hide under the house from Pop many times so that he couldn't find him. The Govan kids learned how to terrorise the neighbourhood, but they had fun doing it. He was an excellent runner when he was young and actually won a Kingsley Curtis cross-country trophy. He had some wonderful achievements growing up, but also made a few mistakes. One of the things was shooting slugs at Gail's legs under the outhouse door, which he did lots of naughty things like that, was shooting up the glass in the neighbour's back door and kitchen window. So, of course, that slug gun was taken off him. And it wasn't until he was a grown man it was given back to him. But thinking he was growing up now that he's at tech school, he made his biggest mistake of all. I don't believe in Santa. Christmas Day came, everyone else got a toy, and Philip received a potato. From that day on, he always knew that Santa was real. See, Poppy used to tell you, Santa's real. And if you don't believe, you don't receive, was what he always told the children. When he was on school holidays, not long after that, he got a job and was Santa's helper. So he applied to the North Pole to have a special licence that always meant he could be Santa's helper whenever he was needed. Christmas after Christmas of his adult life, he was the biggest delight of sharing and being Santa for all of our family. We all have so many memories for generations, fun and games, but of the last few years sharing with our youngest grandchildren. And this was the gift of joy he gave our family. Phil put his hand to many things as a young man, from paper run when leaving school to be the delivery boy at Dickinson Sebastopol, which he rode to and from Ballarat North and from Ballarat North to Sebastopol for 12 months to do the job. He spent 6 months at Bro Repairs fitting tyres, 6 months labouring at the railways, which led to a 5-year apprenticeship as a blacksmith, one of the last of the blacksmiths ever trained as an apprentice. He started that at Just Smith's in Creswick Road, and after 12 months he transferred back to the railways to continue the next 4 years to complete his ticket. He was at the railways then for a total of 10 years, but his future brought farming. So eventually finishing at the railways while farming, he went to night school and also became a wool classer. He worked at Craig's Hotel as a night porter, which I remembered last night. Stetley's mining crush plant, was the Country Victoria's salesman for Ensign tyres for 10 years on and off, bouncing at the Provincial. The days of the discos, where his sister Susan was delighted when the boys were hassling her and she'd say, "I'll get my brother." And they'd say, "And who's your brother?" And she'd go, "Him." So they walked away, left her alone. Sometimes during that time, he was actually working 3 jobs at once to look after his family. He was the captain at the Yelina Fire Brigade. He became Councillor Philip Govan at the Creswick Shire. His job was to look after what he called the Hysterical Society, rather than the Historical Society. And the Creswick Band was under his care as well, so during his time making sure they received new uniforms. After finishing farming, he was a caretaker at the Ballarat Showgrounds for 5 years, but due to a serious back injury while there, he had to leave. But then he was given his favourite job ever. Bicycle mechanic at Quail Cycles, his dream job, of which he had such a talent for. He did, of course, learn wheel building during that time and ended up being one of the best at it in Ballarat. He had such a talent and skill to whatever he put his hand to. When the shop closed, he still did mechanics for many and serviced their bikes from a workshop at home. Then from there, full circle came around and his trade was brought back to him, and he built farm machinery at Agware and then later above ground fuel tanks for Convolt Australia at Miller Brothers, until his back just couldn't take it anymore and retired at 63. But he had a very, very full working life. He then became chief bottle wash, a maintenance man at home, and he and Andy extended the house, created more gardens, and most importantly, his shed. His love of cycling. He raced for years and won many trophies and medals. The boys always knew that during that time, if they didn't dump him on the hills, they had no hope because he was such an excellent sprinter and he could outbeat most of them in full flight. He brought his collector's edition Paris-Roubaix Colnago, of which there's only 300 in the world, and I actually thought I was going to have to sleep in the shed, not the bike. He was involved in the committee for Ballarat Vet Cycling Club, and he was in the first committee for Ballarat for Relay for Life. He started raising money for cancer with cycling races around the lake, which in years went by became the Ballarat Cycling Classic. He was a man to give his anything to everyone. He always put his hand up. He always gave everyone at his workplace or anything he did the fullest, but with very colourful language, as we know. He was once fined $20 after a race for the choice words that he used during that race after a complaint was put in. So more choice words were given when he paid it. He always helped anybody who asked, or even if they didn't. He was there. He was the helping hand. He was the biggest joy of our family are his children and what we have built together. As a 19-year-old man, Phil suffered a terrible loss of a baby boy dying. John Paul only lived a few hours, and that crushed him. He didn't know how he was going to move on, but he did. And while Phil's family was building, so was mine, in different lives and different decade. Tina talked him into buying the house in Adela Street, across the road from my house, as all her friends lived in that area. I introduced Phil to the Widow Divorce Club. He had moved into a neighbourhood of single women, and we always joked about Lucky Phil. We had a very social life in those days, so we always invited him to everything and made him part of our little community. The first time Phil asked me out, I said no. But that was only because I had something on, thanks to Maz, and she wouldn't let me get out of it. But when he got off the phone, apparently, and yes, he rang me from across the road, didn't walk across. He got off the phone saying to himself, "You stupid fucking old bastard, what were you thinking?" So he never asked me again. So a couple of months later, after spending hours and hours with him over the time, getting to know each other, talking over coffee, having a cigarette, all the rest of it, I asked him on a date. Because I don't think he was ever going to be game enough to ask me again. So on July 6, 1994, it was the Ballarat Football Club ball, and there was a group of friends going. So I thought, this is it, I'll invite him. And he said yes. But after that, he didn't even make a move. Like, geez. So I kissed him. Well, he tells everybody she attacked me. Yeah, see? They all believe him. They all believed him. After that date, and then on in, the animal track began, as that is what our neighbours called it. They reckon we wore a groove in the road between number 13 and number 14, going backwards and forwards, backwards and forwards. We talked about our kids and how we wanted to unite family. We did decide we could make this happen, so we moved in together at number 14. We were never going to be the blended family that was his or hers. Oh, 13, sorry, it was 2. We moved to 13. We were in 14 and 13, remember? That's all right, Case. Someone's got to remember these things. Yeah, get it right. We were never going to be the blended family that was his or hers. Unlucky for some, 13, remember Phil used to say. So it was never going to be his or hers. They were all ours. And as they all grew and hopefully realised what we were wanting to give them, our gift to our children was a united front. You've got to remember, though, our children, some of them are nearly as old as me. Where is he? But I was 9 when I had Laban, so that's okay. That's all right. Our children brought partners, then babies. And did they bring babies? They just didn't stop. We laughed at the looks we got whenever we announced we had 8 children and 23 grandchildren, but none together. Tina once asked me, though, are you and Dad going to have a baby? Phil and I looked at each other and just laughed. We thought, 8, we've got 8, don't need any more. So Phil made our lives full of fun and unexpectedly quite inappropriate comments, naughty jokes and much laughter. Tina and I have a funny joke that we've reminded him for years and years and years. So this happened when Tom was about 2. Tom's about 22. We went down to Louis Sung's. So those who don't know Louis Sung's was the best Chinese spring roll dim sim shop in Ballarat. And we used to often go there when Teens was up from Melbourne. So we go down there this day, we pull up out the front, and of course in those days Louis Sung's, it was a queue outside as well, and every car park was full. You couldn't get a car park at the place, and we were lucky to snap one right where the NAB bank is. So as if the ones that know, it's got the old-fashioned veranda and the posts there. So I said to Phil, you can go in and get them. So he gets out of the car, and he was pissed off because we made him go in. Gets out of the car, so Phil, being his usual self, decided that he was going to look like the Hunchback of Notre Dame, maybe. So here he is, bent over, swinging the arm, tongue hanging out, looking back at me and Tina, and we're thinking, what the shit is he doing? And as he turned around to go back up the footpath, the Bluestone path, smashed straight into a pole. Well, he had the dint of the post right in his forehead. It was red, it went into a welt straight away, and all Tina and I could do was laugh. And we're there laughing, and he's looking at us nearly crying, but the veranda vibrated, and everybody in the whole street looked, because the veranda just about come off the railings, and here's Phil with this great big red lump on his face, and he's saying, you'll have to go in, and I'm going, no, we're not. So Tom's in the back at 2 years old, killing himself laughing, absolutely wetting himself laughing because Tina and I couldn't stop. So we made Phil go in, embarrassed because this big lump, and everyone in the cars all along knew what he'd done. And then he come back out to the car and he said, "You're just horrible to me." And we went, "No," and we laughed all the way home, and we've laughed ever since. And every time he mentioned Louis songs, Tina and I'd just crack up and say to him, "Yeah, well, we remember our last adventure there. We won't go again." But that's Phil. That's what Phil did. Phil always did these stupid things to make us laugh. Our life together with the kids and the grandies have been full of love and hysterical laughter. So many stories and tales they hold between them all. He gave himself to them. We've been lucky to travel. We've been overseas many times. Europe, Italy, the Med being a favourite, China, New Zealand, and of course, Tasmania. It is overseas. He was a romantic, leaving flowers on my pillow, making cards for me, with stick figure Tracy and Phil drawings on the front of them. Saving money, you see, it was cheaper. He always made me feel I was the love of his life and nothing else mattered as long as we were together. And thanks, Phil, for the, I'm going to say, fucking cat. Casey actually wanted to do a 2-for-1 and get the cat put in there with him. I said, "You still got time?" It was a stray, as those that don't know, it was a stray that Phil adopted who hates cats, brought the kids up to hate cats. And he's got this cat that just loves him, and we've got to put up with it. So I told Phil, Casey, that you were going to take very special care of his cat. So in his final months, he said, "I am not going to sit in a chair and fucking well die." So we spent our days together. He built garden art for many family and friends, taught me how everything works in the shed, gave me instructions of what I had to do, even made me bloody well reseal the bloody floor of the shed before he passed. He replaced old equipment which he thought was old and tools that we used on the property so that Andy and I didn't have to worry. He spent every day in his happy place, the shed, until he couldn't anymore. He would say to me, "We've had an amazing life together." And apart from him saying, "Sorry, I have to leave," he said he was content with his lot and he had no regrets. This is the last messages for our children from their dad. "You've pissed me off. You've made me angry. You've caused me fucking heartache. But that's bringing up a family. Mostly, you have given me all so much joy watching you all grow and develop into the most fantastic human beings." He was so proud of you, all of you. "I wouldn't have changed anything," this is Phil's words, remember, "I wouldn't have changed anything except to have more time with you all and your mum, Tracy. Life will always give you challenges, but I hope I have given you all the strength and resilience and wisdom to overcome anything. Just remember, I'm watching and I'm cheering you all on. But remember the most important thing. All of you are family united by Tracy and myself, and we love you all." Then, message to our granddaughters. When these boyfriends come around, just remember one thing. Nana's far more scary than I ever was, so good luck. Message to our grandsons. You're waiting for it? This will be good. Put a cover on it. Nana doesn't want to be a great-grandmother just yet. He was very, very precise with his grandchildren of what he wanted to be said. To the little ones, to Max, Tate, Milo and Lenny, grow up to be good and to be kind to everybody. Be helpful to your mum and dads. And most of all, look after Nana for me. Love, Poppy. Philip John Govan. I am scared of my tomorrows that don't have you in it. I'm scared your cheeky smile and laughter that always brighten my days will just be my memories. Your life is a blessing, your strength, kindness, and the love to many. Your guidance was a gift. Your strength and inspiration, your memory a treasure which we will carry with us forever, every day, and the unconditional love you have given. Philip John, I have loved you to the end of your life, and I will love you to the end of mine. Now, after you have fought so hard, it's time to rest, my love.
I could have listened to you all day. Casey, Tina and Sam, come forward.
I don't know why I have to follow that, but anyway. Do you want to read? Tina was going to read, but she's worried she's going to spit her teeth out if she gets too upset, so I'll take this. Some men may be described as a man of few words, but that was not our dad or Phil. He was a man with a lot of words to share, mostly illicit language or dirty jokes. If you knew Phil, you would know he would love to tell a story. Most were true. He was very knowledgeable and loved sharing his wisdom, but often he was telling us complete bullshit. He was making up on the spot to see how far he could push the envelope of what he would get us to believe to amuse himself. An example of this was he had a scar, and he told us an elaborate story to make himself sound super tough, that when he was a bouncer he got stabbed with a knife, and he pulled the knife out all by himself. I found out yesterday that was not the case at all, and it was actually a small work injury. He was a funny bugger, always the entertainer. We had lots of adventures, especially on our trips to Queenscliff. Everything was a race to see who could get to the toilet block first, or to the gate first, or home first. We would casually be walking when he would say, "Race ya," and we were off. But he always had a bloody shortcut up his sleeve. And poor Mum was left in the dust saying, "Does everything have to be a bloody race?" We said, "Yes, it does, Mum." Each night of our holidays, our highlight was going to the ice cream shop. But he would make a game of it, so we had to earn it first by walking the wobbly plank at the playground. He would stand there watching us fall off time and time again, getting frustrated as we really wanted ice cream and truly believed we wouldn't get one if we couldn't do it. Then if we hadn't made it across in a couple of minutes, he would say, "Right, I'm going to get one for myself, you can't do it." As he walked off laughing up the road, we would stay at the stupid bloody plank, trying time and time again until we finally got it and then run to catch up. Sometimes little Sam was still trying, but I thought, nah, stuff you, it's every man for himself, so I wasn't sacrificing my chances waiting for her. But we had always both managed to get it done just before he had turned a corner. We never missed one ice cream. Saturday mornings was a trip to get the career and a Tats Lotto ticket. Then he would go through what was for sale in the paper, picking out the house and car he was going to get if we won First Division. Then would go driving around in the afternoon, checking out all the houses and cars. Sometimes we even got to pick out our bedrooms in the new houses, believing it was actually going to happen. Then comes Saturday night when all the numbers were televised on the screen, and we would read them out to him in anticipation. He would either make us believe that he had the lucky numbers, or he'd say, fuck, back to work Monday. Dinner time was always the most entertaining part of the day, whether Phil was starting a chant at the table, "We want dinner, we want dinner," or showing us how fast he could mash potatoes with a fork, whipping the potatoes in a saucepan all around the kitchen at a fast pace. He'd be whipping them high in the air or low down on the floor and then proceeding to tip the saucepan upside down, and if they didn't fall out, that meant they were ready. Meanwhile, Mum would be having a fit, waiting for there to be mashed potatoes spilled everywhere. Then we actually had dinner. It was full of laughs, whether he was teaching us to push food out through our teeth or it was a race to the finish, which included licking the plate clean and being first to take it back to the kitchen sink. Fair to say teaching us table manners wasn't high on the priority list. But if we had guests, we were always on our best behaviour until the guests weren't looking, then the shenanigans would continue by him showing us mashed up food in his mouth. What we could get away with was hilarious, and Phil was definitely the ringleader and all that. It's already been touched on, but Phil loved to tell a joke. Whether it was funny or not, you couldn't help but laugh, either with him or at him. He always laughed at his own jokes, and if you weren't joining in on the joke, he would stop laughing and say in the most serious voice, "Why aren't you laughing? I'm fucking funny." And then proceed to crack himself up again. His laugh was loud but completely infectious. Phil was the self-proclaimed funniest man in the world, best looking, the toughest, the fucking coolest, and he was Superman. Some of those were right. Every time we passed a telephone box, he would say, "Look, there's my change room." Or he would have a run-up and back race with the grandkids where he would claim he was the winner, having never actually left the start, but he would tell them he was just that quick they couldn't see him because he was Superman. He loved a road trip and adventure but hated heights, so it was no surprise that he drove all the way to Canberra to see the Telstra Tower, only to stand in the car park and have a smoke while everyone looked out at him from the viewing platform. He hated being cold, so he once decided to take a little heater to work to help him keep warm, but he used the heater for 2 days before he realised it was actually a bug zapper. Driving lessons were quite the highlight for us. Tina and I were both learning at the same time. Obviously, I was better. But we were taught the same very important lesson, how to drive a manual with a smoke in one hand and a cheeseburger in the other, so that you could drive, eat and smoke at the same time. He said it was so that we'd be ready for any hazards on the road. But in reality, he was training us to have his own little gang of getaway drivers. I can't elaborate today on why, as we may incriminate ourselves, but he always had a sidekick ready for action. Luckily, petrol was cheap then, as we were always out driving, especially when McDonald's had a buy one, get one free offer on Big Macs for L-platers through the drive-through. He would always agree to go out for a drive if a free Big Mac was on the cards. Another thing he always told us was to drive into the bends, which I took quite literally once. I was driving back from the Vets races with Phil and Kevy Antonio beside me in the van, and we turned right a little too quickly and went around the corner on 2 wheels. Fair to say their hearts were racing higher than they now were actually racing at Learmonth that day. There was one day he had just finished a visit from one of the amazing nurses and was sitting out the back room with me. He looked in at Mum was standing there talking to the nurses, and she loves to talk. And he said, "What the hell could they possibly be talking about there?" He said, "They've got absolutely..." Yes, it is. Shut up. And they said, well, first he said, "She'll talk to anybody because she must just wait all day for these people to turn up, so she's got someone to chew their bloody ear off." But anyway, I'll get back to it. He said they've got nothing in common at all. All that lady does is go house to house washing balls. He then looked at me with a serious face and said, "But only big ones." And so while cracking up, I said, "What, like golf balls or cricket balls?" And he looked at me and said, "No, basketballs, the real big ones." He still had that cheeky humour and was making us laugh right to the very end. His favourite jokes were gynaecologist jokes, so it's only fitting that we should say one today. His favourite was telling people who asked what he did for work, to which he would respond that he is a gynaecologist. Now, there's a bit more to that one, but unfortunately I'm not allowed to say the C word today, so I can't tell you that. But here's a good one for you. What's the difference between a gynaecologist and a genealogist? One looks up the family tree and the other one up the family bush. Do you want to read this?
We think of Nan and Pop and feel so grateful to them for raising our father, for giving him the tools to be the best father and husband the world has yet seen. The truth is, to try and put into a summary of words who you are to us is impossible. You are the ultimate protector, provider, guide and leader. Thank you, Dad, for teaching us what love is, for showing us how beautiful life can be. We will now live our lives with courage like you showed us. You are eternally so much more than Superman. Death is not the end. As your love for us, we still feel more now than ever. Our hero, Dad, with your warrior wings, the love you gave forever sings. Thanks. And thank you all for coming.
Thank you, Casey and girls. Casey, you are a comedian yourself. Yes, she does. Reflection time. As we listen to Kenny Rogers sing Goodbye, I invite you to spend a few moments, quiet moments in reflection, to think of Phil, to think of the moments that he made you smile, the stories that will still be told around your family table, and the adventures that you shared, the conversation that seemed ordinary then, but now means so much. Think about the sound of his voice, his laughter, the things Phil loved the most, the values that he always carried and the people that he cherished. Often it is not the grand events that remain with you, but the small moments that mean the most. The everyday moments and the wave across the room and that shared joke. A helping hand, a hug, that beautiful smile. Though Phil's physical journey has come to an end, the influence of his life continues. And it continues in the people that Phil loved the most. It continues in those stories that will always be told. And it continues in the love that remains long after that goodbye. Please sit, please think, and please reflect on how much Phil meant to you in your life.
I wanted you for life, you and me in the wind. I never thought there'd come a time that our story would end. It's hard to understand, but I guess I'll have to try. It's not easy to say goodbye. For all the joy we shared, all that time we had to spend. If I had one wish, I'd want forever back again. To look into your eyes and hold you when you cry. It's not easy to say goodbye. I remember all those great times we had. So many memories, some good, some bad. Yes, and through it all, those memories will last forever. There's peace in where you are. Maybe all I need to know. And if I listen to my heart, I'll hear your laughter once more. And so I have to say, I'm just glad you came my way. It's not easy to say goodbye.
Matt, would you like to come forward?
Good afternoon, thank you for coming. This is a short reading about the loss of a father, but I think it's relevant to more than just children with the way that Phil lived his life. The loss of a father is the anchor pulled from the seabed, the steering wheel unhinged, the mast split by lightning, and the bow broken by storm. The ship you sail now feels unsafe, no longer weatherproof, without direction or a brave heart to speed on its way. Perhaps you did not even know that he was your compass, that you gazed upon his lead like a north star in the night. He gave you all of this, you see, without notice or congratulation, diligently, consistently, continuously guiding, always showing the way in the way that he knew how. And whilst you are cast adrift, I know that this is true. You will anchor yourself once more when you realise that his voice still speaks, it still guides, still brings a brave heart your way in the roughest of storms. And the answers you seek, he already planted deep, for he knew one day you would need to sail alone. So he buried little pieces of himself within your heart, your mind, your spirit, and your soul. Little breadcrumbs of love to show you the way home.
Words can tell us many things about a person, but photographs often reveal the moments that words cannot fully capture. The smiles, the celebrations, the milestones, the everyday moments that become extraordinary because of the people we shared them with. Today's photo tribute is a journey through Phil's life, a collection of moments frozen in time, moments of happiness, moments of pride, and moments of love. As these photographs appear before you, you are reminded not only of where Phil travelled in life, but of who he travelled life with, and each photograph represents a chapter. Each smile tells a very good story. Each image reflects a life rich in experiences, friendships, and family. As you watch, allow yourself to remember those amazing times that you were a part of. Allow yourself to smile. Allow yourself to feel gratitude for having known such a remarkable man. For while photographs capture moments, it is the love behind those moments that last forever. We're going to listen to two beautiful songs today, Sitting on the Dock of the Bay and also Stand By Me. So please turn to the screen.
Sitting in the morning sun, I'll be sitting when the evening comes, watching the ships roll in, and then I'll watch them roll away again. Yeah, I'm sitting on the dock of the bay, watching the tide roll away. Ooh, I'm just sitting on the dock of the bay, wasting time. I left my home in Georgia, headed for the Frisco Bay, 'cause I've had nothing to live for, and look like nothing's gonna come my way. So I'm just gonna sit on the dock of the bay, watching the tide roll away. Ooh, I'm sitting on the dock of the bay, wasting time. Look like nothing's gonna change, everything still remains the same. I and this loneliness won't leave me alone. Listen, 2,000 miles I roam just to make this dock my home. Now I'm just gonna sit at the dock of the bay, watching the tide roll away. Ooh, I'm sitting on the dock of the bay, wasting time.
Sing. Jingle bells, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in one horse open sleigh. Oh, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one horse open sleigh. Oh!
When the night has come and the land is dark and the moon is the only light we'll see. No, I won't be afraid. No, I won't be afraid. Just as long as you stand by me. So darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Stand by me. If the sky that we look upon should tumble and fall, or the mountains should crumble to the sea, I won't cry, no, 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 I won't shed a tear, just as long as you stand by me. And darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, darling, stand by me. Stand by me. Stand by me. If the mountains should crumble to the sea, when the night has come and the land is dark and the moon is the only light we'll see. So darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, darling, stand by me. Stand by me wherever
You should have tipped it over, Santa.
Now you got a hot sack, Santa.
Look out, we're off.
May we please offer Phil a round of applause for his incredible life. Family and friends, thank you for being here today. Today we have remembered Philip John Govan. You have spoken Phil's name. You have shared Phil's story. You have laughed. And you've also cried. You have reflected. You have honoured a life that mattered deeply, a life that will never be forgotten. When someone you love dies, it can feel as though an entire chapter of your lives have closed. But the truth is that people you love never truly leave you. They become a part of you, part of your stories, and part of your character, part of who you are. The values that Phil carried, the love that he gave, and the lessons that he taught, and the memories he created now live on in every person that is gathered here today. Phil's legacy is not found in the possessions or achievements alone. It is found in the lives that he influenced, the people he encouraged, the family that he loved so much, the friendships that he nurtured, the laughter that he always shared, and the kindness that he continued to show. And the countless moments that may never make it into history books, but are forever written into the hearts of those who knew and loved him. As you leave here today, there will undoubtedly be sadness. That is the price that you pay for loving someone so deeply. But alongside that sadness, may there also be gratitude. Gratitude for the years that you have shared. Gratitude for the memories that you have all created, and gratitude for the love that remains. For the love does not end when a life ends. Phil's journey may have reached its earthly conclusion, but it is his story through each of you that will remain. Every time Phil's name is spoken, every time a story is shared, and every time you remember that lesson that has been taught, Phil remains with you. Not in the way that you wish, but in the way that can never be taken away. Today you say farewell, but you do not say goodbye forever. We release Phil with love, gratitude, admiration, and incredible respect. We thank him for all that he brought into this world. We thank him for the difference that he has made, and we thank him for the privilege of being a part of this journey. May you honour him not only today, but in the days, months and years ahead by living fully, loving deeply, laughing often, and cherishing those who walk beside you. As Phil is escorted from the chapel today for the final time, I invite you to stand if you're able to. May you accompany him with your thoughts, your memories, and with your love. And may the music that follows serve as your final gift and farewell to a man who gave so much to so many. Thank you, Phil. I ask you now to all please be upstanding.
Danny boy, the pipes are calling from glen to glen and down the mountainside. The summer gone and all of life.
Thank you, Joe. Could I ask the coffin bearers to come forward, please?
This you must go, and I must buy. But come ye back when summer's in the meadows, and when the valleys hush and white with snow. There's I'll be here, sunshine or shadows. Oh, Danny boy, oh, Danny boy, I love you so. And if you come when all the flowers dying and I am dead as I may be, go out and find the place where I am lying, and you can say, and I'll be there for me, and I will hear the soft tread, oh, above me, and all my dreams will warm and sweet to be. If you not tell me that you love me, oh, Danny boy, oh, Danny boy, I love you so. Oh, Danny boy, oh, Danny boy, I love you so. Oh, Danny boy, the pipes are calling from glen to glen and down the mountainside. The summer gone and all the flowers dying. This you must go, and I must buy. But come ye back when summer's in the meadows, and when the valleys hush and white with snow. There's I'll be here, sunshine or shadow. and I am dead, as dead as I may be. Go out and find the place where I am lying, and you can say, and I'll be there for me, and I will hear the soft tread, above me, and all my dreams will warm and sweet to be. If you